All right. Hello and welcome to episode number 2 of the Hobbies and Happiness
Oh, man.
podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back.
What's up, Jim?
It's been a pretty good day so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why'd you tell me it was a pretty good day?
Because it's
Did I ask? I mean, I didn't really ask.
we're having a great day.
We are. You're true. That is a very true statement. So yeah.
Can't change my mind.
No, yeah. And I would not want to. I would not want to try and change your mind. All right, let's get into it. Let's go. So Jim, how'd you like that first episode? How did you feel? How did you feel after that conversation?
So I was saying it from the start. I was definitely nervous, and
I can still tell. I still think you are a little nervous.
I mean, I'm in a whole different area now, Dan. So, and yeah, this isn't my normal setup for this kind of thing. So yeah, it's a little bit.
What is
different.
your normal setup for this kind of thing?
I just have a mic on an arm and then moving my hands while I'm talking. But as of right now, I'm holding the mic and some paper in my hand, and I can't do
you
any
can
of
put the
that.
paper down. So we're
my
sitting
notes.
on the couch right now. We're sitting on my couch, and it's kind of comfortable.
Yeah. I'm doing great. I was having a great day.
You were. Today was good.
Yeah.
Today's Saturday. We're recording this on a Saturday. Saturday, the weekends, I love the weekends. And I mean, you like Gary Vee, right? You follow Gary Vee.
Yeah.
And I know one thing Gary Vee says all the time, and I absolutely love that guy. Gary's awesome. If you don't follow Gary on social media, you need to change that. He's a very inspirational guy. I hope he swears all the time. So just be forewarned. If you don't like that, then don't follow him, I guess. But that's just who he is. And he admits it, that's just who he is.
Yeah.
But he's always like, if you're living for the weekend, you're doing something wrong. He has so many hot takes. That's just, again, that's who Gary Vee is.
Live for every day.
Yeah, right. And his whole thing is be doing what you love, you're glad it's the weekend and you can stop working type thing, which
Yep.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the weekend, and honestly, Jim, one of the reasons I look forward to weekends now is we get to just hang out.
Yeah.
We get to hang out and
Play some random games.
play some random games and do our thing.
Random games are good.
Yeah. So, one thing, when I first brought up doing a podcast,
Right.
this episode is kind of we both thought this was important.
Yeah.
And so what we're talking about today
For the whole thing.
is the importance of tabletop gaming.
Yep.
I mean, we both just really thought just delving into this topic. I think this is a big topic, right?
There's a lot of stuff for it.
There is. So
it's not just card games or
Right.
board games or
So,
minis.
okay. So what do we mean when we say tabletop gaming? We're just going to get right into it. What do we mean, Jim? What do we mean when we say tabletop gaming?
So, in the most basic sense, a physical game that can be played on top of a table. That's pretty much.
Yeah. So that can take many different forms now.
Yep.
Right? So we've got board games.
Yep.
We've got card games.
Mm-hmm.
We've got role-playing games.
Yep.
What else? What else am I missing? Miniature games.
Minis, yeah.
Is there anything else? Am I forgetting anything?
I mean, that pretty much covers all the basics. You have the 3D, you have the 2D with the cards, you have the pure story-driven stuff with the books, and then the classic board game.
Which story-driven,
Mhm.
story-driven games
Mhm.
really goes into a lot of these games.
Yeah.
And I've written this down actually quite a bit. His story is super important. Story is very important in my
Yeah.
opinion,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to tabletop. The stuff that I enjoy really revolves around some kind of story.
Right.
And I think when it's done well, story is just really, really super important.
Kind of keeps you
Engaged, right?
yeah, it keeps you really engaged and more immersed than it's just oh, I'm going to roll these dice and kill this random thing,
Right.
or oh, I
I roll
captured
this
this
dice, here's an
area.
outcome.
Like what else is going on that we
Yeah.
could imagine more?
Right. So that's kind of what we mean when we say tabletop gaming. Some people think, well, I guess there's kind of, is there a stigma, do you think, to table when someone says tabletop gaming? Do you think there's like a stigma involved?
Honestly, I think it's more of like family oriented board games, and people tend to think about it in terms of more old school things.
Yeah, right.
So they
Especially
especially
depending on your background.
yeah, so like if they most of the time the people don't know about these newer board games and they're just think like, "Oh, Monopoly, Candyland,
Mhm.
the old classic ones." But there's a bunch of stuff out there now, like a ridiculous amount of games, and there's just a lot of people that don't understand what it is.
Right.
So,
So one thing that I have written down here is essentially when we say tabletop gaming, what we kind of mean is a game that you play with another person or individual.
yeah.
And really, when you boil it down, that is the crux of it.
Yep.
Because we talked last week about community in general, right?
Yeah.
And for us specifically, that's really where this stuff boils down to for us
Yeah.
is sharing an experience with someone else over a game on a table in front of you.
Mhm. Whether it's something you both are first trying,
Yeah.
or one person loves the game and is
Right.
like teaching the other one,
Right.
or
Just
or you
just
both love the game.
what we did tonight.
Yeah.
We played Lord of the Rings, the living card game
Yeah.
tonight. Your first time playing,
Yeah.
my second time playing, and that was
And
awesome.
we destroyed it.
Oh, yes, we did.
Pooped on it.
That was fun. Like, that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
that,
it was.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was fun. So, okay. Okay. So we went through these different types of games in general. When we talk about tabletop games, right?
Yeah.
So here's some classic examples, right? We talked about like stigma, what a lot of people think. From my background growing up, I say a lot, so I'm apologizing right now. I
Their
listen.
filler word.
So, yeah, it's one of my filler words.
My filler word is just be quiet.
I listen. I'm not gonna lie. I listened to that first episode a lot.
Yeah.
Because like we talked about last time,
Yeah.
I'm very quality minded. I listened to it a lot, and I pointed stuff out
It
to
was
myself.
day one.
Yeah, right.
Day
It
one.
is
We
day
get
one.
better.
Right, right. So I say a lot. That's one thing I'm going to try and curb. So I'm sorry. Okay, so we talk about board games in general. Classic examples. Classic examples.
Yep.
Because again, from my background, this is kind of what I would have thought
Yeah.
when you said tabletop gaming in general. Monopoly.
Yep.
That's like
That's
the
like the
Mac
number one.
Daddy. That is like the number one.
Old Maid.
Old
Old
Maid.
card game.
Dude, I have that on a shelf right there. I got Old Maid right over there.
Oh man.
Yep. So okay, Monopoly.
Yes.
I don't remember when I saw this video. But I showed it to you recently, right?
This was so good.
Have
I've never seen it.
And you never saw it before
I've
then?
never seen it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna set it up for you, okay? So it's a family board game night,
Yeah.
right? They're playing Monopoly, and one of the children involved comes to learn that taxes are not fun.
Taxes suck.
Taxes are terrible.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a setup. All right, so check it out. Check it. Here it is.
Where's all your money gone, Daddy?
Taxes.
Bug, it's okay. It's part of the game.
No, it's not.
It
It's not
is.
fun.
It's not fun to what?
It's the worst part of the game.
Oh, it's what?
Taxes.
Every time it gets you every time, man.
Taxes. Is the first time I seen it, I was dying. My girlfriend saw it. She's like, "You've never seen this?" I'm like, "No, I've never seen a little kid crying over taxes."
But welcome to the real world, kid.
Yeah. Welcome to the real world.
Look, you can be Democrat, Republican. I don't care what your political stance is. That's funny. Texas. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every time I think of Monopoly, my mind always goes back to that video.
Yep.
And it's funny. So okay, one thing with Monopoly, it seems like every year there's like, oh, here's 5 more different.
Oh yeah,
Monopoly
for sure.
games.
They have a
I
bunch
have
of different
3.
themes.
I've got 3 on my shelf. I've got what? Monopoly Gamer.
Yeah.
I
that one's
have
good.
Star Wars. which I just got this
Okay.
recently as a gift, and then Fallout.
Oh, the video game?
Yes.
Fallout? Okay.
That one's sweet. I like that one.
Okay.
That's very
Does
cool.
it change up anything, or is it just purely thematic?
That's actually a good question.
Because Gamer changes it up.
Yes, Gamer does change it up.
And same thing with Gamer or Mario Kart Gamer.
So
There are two different gamers.
I'm assuming everyone is familiar with the game Monopoly, okay? But with some of these different versions, they changed up how the game is played. So for example, with Monopoly Gamer, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. You choose a video game character, and it's Mario. It's mostly Mario characters.
Yeah.
And you get gold coins. What else? There
are two different dice as well.
Yes.
One controls how many squares you move, and the other one is a power-up.
Yes.
Whether you get 3 coins, you could shoot a green shell, which targets the player in front of you. A red shell can hit anyone, and then I forget what else there is. Oh, then there's things that like every single person on the field will then drop, or on the board will drop 1 coin.
Right. Okay. I remember I played that with my wife.
Yeah.
And she enjoyed it.
It's a lot of fun.
It's fun. It is. It is a lot of fun.
And it's a lot shorter.
Yeah, it is. It is. They changed it up. They changed it up well. Like I think they did a really good job with that one.
Yeah.
That's
a really good one.
That's one of my favorite versions, I think, of Monopoly. Okay, so there I go again. All right. So in addition to Monopoly, we've got like Uno, classic, Candyland, classic, Go Fish, Sorry.
Yep.
Those are like some of the classic examples of board games.
Yep.
What did we mention? We mentioned one last week. Oh, kids games, Chaiho Cheerio.
Yeah, I don't want to play
Don't
that
ever
game.
play that, dude. Don't
Don't
just
play
don't do it. The next one I've got here, Stellars of Catan.
Yes.
That is the game I feel like that everybody gets introduced to when they get into tabletop
It's
gaming.
like the evergreen.
Yes.
Is the biggest evergreen.
Jim, what is evergreen? What does that mean? What does that term mean?
So it's pretty much for board games, it's like the ones that have been around for a while and will keep being around. It's not a seasonal based thing. It's not, for X year, this is now no longer a good game. It is always going to be there, exactly how it looks every single time. And the game is great.
It is. Settlers of Catan is very fun.
Yeah.
I do remember, I can't remember if I mentioned this last episode or not. I don't think I did. Excuse me. But when I was in college, my college experience was kind of wild. My first year I went to one college, and then I transferred to another college, worked full-time, went part-time, then I transferred to another college, where I ultimately graduated from.
Okay.
But the first college I went to, I played sports. I played soccer. There, and I was since I played soccer, I kind of hung out with most of the athletes, right? I didn't hang out with a lot of the gamers or nerds. I say nerds.
Bit of a different crowd.
When I say nerds, that is definitely not demeaning. That is not, to me, nerd is not a demeaning term.
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
It can be.
Yes, it can be.
Any term can be.
Yes, that's not to. I'm not meaning to take away from the fact that there are people who do use it in a negative connotation, which it can be. I more use it as a term of grouping, I guess.
Yeah.
Just to describe a descriptor.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I say that term nerd gamer. I believe it was my first night in the dorm for preseason. There were these guys playing this game. Yeah. I'd never seen it, never heard of it before. So I'm watching them. I'm like, oh, because of the crowd.
Right.
I was more like, I kind of like was turned off because at the time, it wasn't my crowd. And again, being a young guy, freshman in college, I thought I was, hot stuff.
Also, quick side note, that was not a filler. That was a quote from back in the day. Just so we're clear on that. There is a difference right now.
Thank you, Jim. But yeah, so like I thought I was hot stuff when I really was not. But I ended up befriending those guys. Yeah. And we were very friendly. And one of them actually lived relatively close, actually.
Okay.
It's kind of funny. Long story, but...
Has he ever gone to our store, Grab?
Don't think so.
Oh, okay.
He might have.
Possibility.
I know he has frequented another establishment.
Gotcha.
I do know that.
Gotcha.
But anyway, do you have any fond memories of Settlers of Catan?
So...
Well, no, wait. let me ask you, when is the
Okay.
first time you played Settlers? When's the first time you played Settlers?
Ooh, I'd say like probably 3 years ago now, maybe two. We'll say 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. So I was already at
Did you
Grapple
know
for
about
like
it? Did you know about it though?
I've seen it around.
Okay.
Like it's one of the first board games you would see at Grapple.
Yes.
On like going through their stuff.
Yes.
And whenever my dad would actually go in there with me, he would always point the game out. I had no clue what it was, but he's like, so my dad's a truck driver, and when he would go to these random warehouses or whatever stores and whatnot, he was telling me that like, oh, I've actually been to a couple warehouses that these games, this specific game was all over the floor.
Settlers?
Yeah, Settlers of Catan were just like broken random boxes, full boxes, just off on the floor randomly. So I don't know if it was like a distributor or was it store in general and or any other warehouses. And so that was the first time I really heard about Catan or Catan, whatever.
Some
Settlers.
people say Catan, some
Yeah,
people say Catan.
yeah,
I think
Catan.
I believe the
I say
correct is
both.
Catan, but I'm not. I could be wrong on that.
And
very well
so,
could be.
yeah, that was the first time I've ever like seen it. Really, was him bringing it up. And then when I played it, the game's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't suggest rolling dice. Get the one where you can play with the cards. Do you know the differences?
Isn't the one with dice like the card game, the travel version? Isn't that the travel version?
So there was an expansion that they came out with for Settlers of Catan.
They have a ton of expansions.
Yes. A specific one that it gave you a deck of cards and it would reveal numbers on them and effects. So whenever there was a 7 revealed, that would be the thief card that would then, you get to move around.
Right.
So if you're rolling dice,
But
you have higher chance
yeah,
of rolling the 7.
7, yeah. Right.
And it makes it to where if you ever go on a 12 or a 2, the odds that you get the double 6s or the double 1s, with dice, it's a lot lower odds. Where on these cards, they told you how many cards were in this deck for 2 and 12. There were 2 in each, or 2 of each. So it's a bit more consistent in terms of, all right, well, I have these numbers that aren't great, but I can still pretty much get them. We go through the deck once, I've got it twice. I think the cards are better.
Yeah, I just hearing that and thinking about it, yes.
Because there can be so many times where you're just like, this 6 was called or pulled 12 times with rolling the dice,
Right.
And then it's just like, well, whoever had 6 just has a lot more value.
Right.
And it's just like, all right, well, now in the whole deck of like 50 cards, you can only pull that 8 times.
It was actually, so the last time I played Settlers of Catan was with my brother-in-law.
Right.
And he was close to tilting. And it was,
yeah, that game
and
can
I
be pretty
get,
tilting.
and fully justified in my opinion, because he is the type of person where he's very strategic in the way he plays.
Right.
He's also an engineer, so he's like, he takes the stuff super seriously, which I get it. Like, I'm the same. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, he had a couple like 6s. He had the higher probability spots, and he did not activate those. He didn't activate those very often because the dice just were not in his favor that game.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I felt a little bad for him.
Yeah. It's pretty rough.
So, but yeah, no, I totally get that. I totally understand. So, okay. So we've talked about like all these different types of board games, right? So what I want to do is we each have 3 games that we have some fond memories of when we were kids. So, Jim, I'm going to let you go first. We'll alternate because I want to hear this. I see.
I'm going to save this for it for last. Yes, I'm going to save it for last.
All right. Okay. So, we're going to alternate games, and so Jim, we'll have you start first.
So,
what is
the
first game that
you've
got?
My first like big memory that I have for one, Monopoly. Very classic.
Yep.
Most people have played it.
Yep.
And if you haven't played it, well, I'm glad that you still love your family and don't have any issues with each other. So,
wait, did you say have played it or have not played it?
For those who haven't played it,
who have not played it,
yeah,
okay,
I'm glad
right.
you still love your family. So, Monopoly can be pretty bad sometimes.
I feel like they need to have a subtitle:
Yeah.
Monopoly. family
trigger warning
destroyer.
on it.
Trigger warning. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And so I would play this game with my cousin and my sister, and me and my cousin are pretty close. He was one that's been in my life for a long time, and we would cheat, just hands down. We'd cheat so hard.
And
It'd be
like a 4-player, like how many people?
it would be
are-
3 players, and
Oh,
just like if whenever she'd go to the bathroom, I'd be like, all right, I need a couple 500. And like she wouldn't be out of the room. She'd be like looking at something else. She'd be like, hand me some money over there. Or give me that property because I need it. Or steal her money and give it to me. Whatever it was, we were doing messed up stuff. And then eventually she learned how to cheat in the game as well, just by also stealing stuff.
So in other words, nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed. And
That's what I'm hearing right now. Is nothing's
so,
changed.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun with playing Monopoly.
Sure. I'm pretty sure we all have a good Monopoly story. Okay, so my first one I have is Mousetrap. I fondly remember not even playing the game. I just loved setting up the
Setting them up?
Mousetrap.
Yeah.
I really looked forward to it. So funny story.
Like a little domino set.
Yes, yes.
tick, tick.
And again, now that I'm an engineer, I look back and I'm like, huh. I wonder if, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. So it's funny. I was actually over at my parents last week, I think. I'm pretty sure it was last week. We were just talking, catching up with them, and we're all downstairs. And they still have like a closet like that is full of old games, VCRs. There's like VCR sets. They've got tapes.
Is that like a DVD? Is that like on demand?
Yeah, so they have old school stuff that was from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Right. So I see Mousetrap, I see all these other games, and I'm like, hey, you mind if I take some of these games? So I grabbed Mousetrap and I grabbed Twister. Because again, like, I've got kids and like I want them to play these games.
Yeah.
So anyway, I grab Mousetrap and I bring it home, and then I think I tried playing it with my kids.
And then your kids are like, "How do we play this?" And you're like, "I don't know.
Exactly.
I've never played it."
Exactly. I couldn't remember, so I'm like, I'm looking at the rule book.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, we're just gonna skip to the end. The way you're supposed to play it, I think, is you're supposed to build the trap as you go.
Oh.
I'm like, they're too young.
not gonna
They're
do that.
they're not gonna do that. They're too young. And then come to find out, we don't even have all the pieces. I'm like, it's one. We're missing like one piece. It's a marble. It is. It does matter.
Yeah.
It's the marble. You need 2 marbles. There's only 1 marble.
Why don't you just go get another marble?
Well, because I don't have a marbles anywhere else in the house, I don't think. So I got to go find a freaking marble. But honestly, I probably just need to get a new one because it's so old, and like there's pieces that are like kind of bent. They're just bent out of shape enough to where it doesn't work perfectly.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not going to get my wife is going to hear this and she's probably going to tell me you are going to get rid of it. I don't want to get rid of it because it has sentimental value to me,
Just give it back to your parents.
But my wife is the kind of person to where, no, you get rid of it all. She's very minimalistic. Honey, I love you. I love you so much. But to be quite honest with you, I've come a long way. I've come a long way in that department.
Okay.
All right. I have gotten rid of stuff. Yeah. And then you're looking at that. You're looking at that shelf over there and you're like, really, Dan? Really? Am I right? Am I right, Jim?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my first one, Monopoly. Before we get off on another tangent.
Yeah.
What's your number 2, Jim?
All right. So phase 10. Again, this is another game with I played a lot of games with my cousin and sister. And so this is another story with them as well. And with this game, you have a specific amount of cards. Let's say 10 cards.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 10 different phases. Each phase, you have to go through like a specific thing, like 2 sets of 3, a run of 5, whatever it is. And there would be so many times where someone is about to play all their cards, ready to go into the next level, and then someone goes out. As soon as someone goes out, the game gets reset. You all draw. Yeah, so you all draw 10 cards again. The person who didn't complete their phase now has to restart that phase. And if they don't have their cards anymore, they can no longer play them. because again, you reshuffle everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then whoever did go out or finish their phase, they then get to advance to the next phase. So if one person didn't get the
So they can just
setup,
get like very far behind, right?
yes, exactly. So you can be like 7 phases behind, right?
Mhm.
But there could be so many times where you're like, oh, I just need to get to my turn, and then I'm able to go off and go to the next phase. Except we've had so many times where this has happened to me, my cousin, and sister, where we'd be like, all right, I just drew into my stuff. I can now go into it on my next turn. And then someone goes out, advances into the next phase, and we get screwed. So then it's just like, but there was also that whole cheating factor that we took over from Monopoly. So it was like, hey, I need a 7 or a yellow 7. Do you have it? And he's like, take this card. You're going to want it. Or it's just like handing cards under the table.
Is there something that you didn't cheat in? Tell me that.
Old board games that we used to play.
Just in general. Because it seemed what I'm getting at is
This is old board games with family.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but you have said that you've cheated in everything now. So did you cheat in school?
No, there's only
Jim,
2.
Jim, did you cheat
Did
in
I
school?
cheat in school? We'll talk about that in a different episode.
Offline. Well, we're gonna have this discussion offline, I guess. All right, yeah. So I've played
My
Phase
last
10.
game, I didn't cheat. We're gonna go over it.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, my last game. We'll talk about it.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Phase 10. I feel like I've played that game.
Okay.
But it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have.
Probably. It was a pretty classic one too.
Yeah,
Been around.
it is. Okay, that's your number 2.
Oh, I think it's also called Rummy. If you've ever played
it?
Rummy. Yeah.
Is it this? Is it the same thing?
Kinda.
Is it kind of okay?
Kinda, yeah.
I've never.
Because that one's
I've
yeah,
never
that one-
played Rummy.
Yeah, because Rummy's also point based and Phase 10 is also point based.
Okay.
So like you're still going through a lot of different things. But
How
Rummy,
do you win? Do you first to X points?
yeah. Well, the first one to complete all 10 phases is the winner. And then to come up with second place is whoever has the least, or I guess further along. And if there's a tie on the phases, then it's whoever has the least amount of points.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So your number 2, Phase 10. My number 2, Kerplunk. Do you know what that game
I've
is?
never heard of that.
Okay, so it's a kids game. It's a children's game. So basically, what you do is you have a cylinder. Okay, the cylinder there's a lot of holes in the middle of the cylinder.
Mhm.
Okay, so you have this cylinder, you have all of these sticks, and then you have a ton of marbles. Okay, so
They love these marbles.
I know. I did not even do that on purpose. But as I'm reading my list and notes, I'm like, oh, here we go, marbles. Oh, okay, I did not mean for that to happen. So anyway, you have all these sticks, and you stick these sticks in the center, the middle of that cylinder, right? Because you have the cylinder upright.
I
and
think
then
I might have seen.
So the goal, then you put all of the marbles on the top of the cylinder. So with all the sticks in the middle, it creates a barrier to hold the marbles up.
Right.
In the top. Okay. Then you take turns. You each take turns by taking one of the sticks out of the middle of the cylinder. Okay. And then you see if the marbles have fallen through to the bottom. Okay. I can't remember how you win. But basically you just take turns removing a stick.
Yeah.
Until basically all of the marbles flush down to the bottom.
Okay.
And I think if I remember correctly,
Whereas the most marbles lose or something.
yeah, I think, and the way I think they delineate it is, I believe, if I remember correctly, at the bottom, okay, it's divided into like 4 sections.
Yeah.
And then you have like your own section. So when the marbles fall, like you never know where they're gonna go, type thing. If I remember correctly, I pretty sure that's how it was.
Okay.
So I just remember we played that game a lot. And I don't know what the appeal was for us. For me, my brother and sister, it was just fun. We just had a lot of fun.
noises.
Yeah, just that. Yeah. So Kerplunk it was fun. I don't really know if anybody would have a lot of fun with it anymore, but we thought it was cool at the time. I mean, this is 90s, man. You know, we did a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hear this number 3, Jim.
Woo!
I want to
Here
hear
we
this
go.
number 3.
Here we go.
Let's go.
So I put this at number 1 on the list, but Dan was like, "Hey, I really can't wait to hear it." But now,
Well, when we're making
We're not gonna
the
talk.
outlines for this,
yeah.
I'm like, what? I must know more.
All right. So for everyone who's ever played this game, it's also still out. I've seen a new copy of the game, and I was telling Larissa, I
Is it
almost bought
really?
it. Yeah, it's at Walmart. Yeah, I almost bought it. So
That's
this
great.
game is called Pretty Princess.
Now you know why when I first saw that I'm like, okay, please tell me more. I
Yeah.
must know.
So just so you guys can get an idea of what I kind of look like now. 6'4", 250,
Beard,
big old bearded
big old
dude.
beard.
Yeah, you would just instantly assume lumberjack. Just don't pay attention to the fact I'm wearing a flannel.
Yeah.
Talk about it. So I played this game a lot with my sister back in the day. I think my mom played a little bit, but you would have to go around collecting this little plastic jewelry, and then I think at the end you get a plastic tiara. I got all the rings. I would just get enough of the jewelry and stuff, and I also think at the end you have to say like I'm a pretty princess in order to win the game. But if you didn't have to, we just did it out of fun. So, we played this game at my aunt's house like all the time, and yeah, it was something else.
You know, now that you say that,
Yeah.
this was a 90s game, right?
Yeah,
Oh man, I
I
feel
was
like
like really young. I
I
was
f-
probably like 3.
I feel like I remember that being around.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh man, dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I think I was 3 when we played this or something. 3 or 4. Yeah, I was pretty princess.
I want to hear you say that. I want to. Let's hear it, Jim. Come on.
I am pretty princess Jim. All right. It's been a while since I played, but I almost bought it at the store.
Dude, we need to go get that now.
All right. That'll be the next game we play.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious. That's funny. That's funny.
Yep.
All right, so my number 3.
I didn't cheat at that game. I was just.
Of course you were. Oh, dude, that's funny. All right, so my number 3, Pass the Pigs. Why, dude? I still play that game. I love
Marbles?
that game so much. What?
Marbles?
Okay, no, they are not marbles. So, have you ever played this game? Okay, so the goal, I think, is it's the first person to like 100 points or something,
Okay.
something like that. Okay, and the entire goal is you have 2 pigs.
Yeah.
They're a very small pig, and you roll them like dice. Okay.
Okay.
The way the pigs land will determine your number of points. Okay. So it's kind of a betting game. Okay. So what you do, you roll the pigs, see how they land. Okay. You can either pig out. So, and the way the pigs are, one side of the pig has a dot. Okay. So like the left side will have a dot, the right side has nothing. And the way you pig out is once, I believe, you roll them and they both land on the side. One side has a dot, one side does not. So that's how you pig out. So when
Okay.
you roll, you get X amount of points. Depending on how they land, you will get a point value. If they both land on the same side, I believe it's 1 point. They both stand, I think it's like 10 points. If they lean, it's like 15 points. If they both lean a certain way, it's the double leaning jowler. The double leaning jowler, man, that's like 30 points. And so when you get your points,
Sounds very in depth.
well, it's always you got to look at the graph, like the sheet, and
Right.
and say, okay, which one is this?
Who just memorizes
There's
this
only
game?
there's only a few ways that they can land, right?
Okay.
Well, because they each have, they've got their feet, and then they have their ear is also a way that like it can like tilt,
Right.
kind of. So when you
so
get
it's
your
just
points,
balances.
right, exactly.
Okay.
When you get your points, you can decide that if you're gonna roll again, and then if you roll again, you
Then
keep
is it like an
totaling up
all
the
or
points.
nothing?
Exactly. So you can keep going, or you can stop and bank your points.
Right.
Right. And so if you pig out, you lose everything that you gained for that round. So those kinds of games you can imagine will lead to we're going like you're in
Yep.
Vegas type thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I've had a lot of great memories. We just played it, actually. Me, my wife, and my kids just played it a couple weeks ago, and my daughter won.
Oh my god. You just go 0 to 100 real quick.
No, I
Or she
kind of told her,
banks.
I'm like, honey, you should just stop. Don't do it again. Just bank your
Yeah.
points.
Like, nah, hold my juice.
Yeah.
Hold my juice, fam.
Oh, dude, yes. So we actually, when we first got married,
Yeah.
we actually rented a house down the street, actually not that far
Okay.
away, and we hosted New Year's Eve in our house. So we had
right.
my wife's parents over, my parents. We had a lot of people over.
Yeah.
Ever since then, we try to host New Year's. It's kind of become our tradition type thing. So that first New Year's, my dad brought over Pass the Pigs. We all had a great time playing. That was I think my wife's and her family's first time playing the game, and that was a lot of yelling and a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Every time I bust that game out, it is loads and loads of fun. So Pass the Pigs, if you've never played it, go find it and pick it up. It is a great time.
We'll have to play it.
Yes. That's a game where like 10 people, you get a
yeah.
lot of people, and
for sure.
that's fun. A lot of fun. Man.
There's also a lot of
Memories.
kind of games. Oh yeah. There's
Memories.
also a lot of games like that as well. Because
What, like party games?
No, so like with that dice game you were talking about, rolling the pigs to get
Mhm.
X amount of points.
Sure.
There's also a game called 10,000 that you
Yeah.
pure dice.
pure
where it's
dice, sure.
5 or 6. There's
Yep.
also it's Fargo.
Fargo.
I think that's no. I could be
Like
but that could
Fargo?
also be it. Fargo. I don't know.
Like
I think it's
Fargo. Like Fargo, the
No,
movie?
no.
Oh, Fargo. Okay.
GLE. Fargo.
Fargo.
All right, regardless, yeah, it's just in zombie dice. There's also like a Batman dice game where it's like, oh, I need to roll these points to get to like 31 or whatever.
It's also
number is.
Yahtzee.
This is
kind of.
nothing like Yahtzee. This is
We're
nothing
just talking.
like
We're
Yahtzee.
talking about dice, I guess. So I just threw in Yahtzee. Isn't Yahtzee like the classic dice game?
Yes,
kind
but
of.
it's not like
Yeah, I
your-
know the mechanics are different.
Next question. Next question.
All right. So when we talk about tabletop gaming, okay, and we just reminisced, okay, after reminiscing, tabletop gaming gives so many opportunities to spend quality time with your family. It brings opportunities to spend quality time with anybody, but like just how we talked about it, like we have so many fond memories of playing games when we were kids.
Yeah. And I didn't even play a whole lot of board games neither, but like
Mhm.
I remember nearly all of them.
Yeah, it's those times. Those times are so memorable.
Yep.
Like we have these emotions that we remember having just over a table playing a game with the people we love. And you can't get those experiences in anything else. You kind of can with video games.
LAN parties. You ever had a LAN party in video games, Dan? That stuff
No,
is amazing.
I never did, but I know, like I remember. I know
I've only done it like, well, I guess I could say more than, but only a couple times.
But okay. So you've done LAN parties.
Yes.
Those experiences, are they similar? Are they different? Like,
Honestly,
can you?
it is pretty similar.
Okay.
They can be. Because again, it's sure like you could be staring
Now,
at a screen.
now, hang on.
but
Time out.
Yeah.
What's a LAN party for
Okay.
those people that don't know? What is a LAN party?
So it's pretty much having people over with either their computers or other consoles, and you are all playing the same game, exact same room.
We're talking a video game here,
Yeah.
because LAN is it's an acronym, right? It's an
Yes.
acronym for local area network, So it's basically you all get a video excuse me a video game or a computer, some console.
Yep.
You all connect to the same local network.
And honestly, it could also be on the exact same console because you can just
Yeah,
play
that's true.
split screen
That's true.
on,
Yep.
on a lot of games.
Sure.
So, and like you go back to the N64, right? Nintendo 64, and they had essentially a board game on there, which was Mario Party.
Oh yes.
And they all had a bunch
That
of
is
different
true.
mini games
This
in
is
there.
true.
And that's another one that
This is
could
true.
That's another one that could destroy friendships.
I remember
because
when
you can
that came
steal
out.
stars.
I remember so N64
Yeah.
I remember when that came out.
Nintendo's great.
Oh yes, dude, Nintendo is great. I remember when N64 came out because I wanted an N64 so bad,
Yeah.
right? And the game that they were pushing at the time was Star Wars, the pod racing game. You remember that pod
Ooh,
racing
yeah,
game?
The episode 1 of it.
Yes, the episode
Yeah.
1 pod racing game. I wanted the N64. So me and my brother, we had a lemonade stand, and we started
Holy cow.
selling lemonade for an N64. I
Did
think
you guys have a permit?
do we have a permit? At the time, I don't even think I knew what a permit was. So no, we did not have a
Oh,
permit.
okay, right.
I think we raised a total of $5.
Nice.
Yeah, so
How
we
much were
didn't
you
get
selling
very
it for?
far. We did not get very far. I don't remember. I just remember doing it because we wanted.
Right.
I wanted the N64. I don't even remember if my brother wanted it. He just more was kind of doing what I told him to do.
You're gonna have to ask him.
I'm gonna have to ask him. Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask him. So yeah, you say N64, that's immediately where my mind
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of games out there, especially when you go back in the day, of a lot of split screen because there wasn't really anything online. Talk about old school hockey, old school Madden.
Mhm.
It's just like, well, you're either going to play against a computer or you're going to play against someone you know.
Right.
And you could have good and also bad memories for this.
Yeah. True. True.
The first ever LAN party I guess I can remember was my uncle that came to our house, and I believe it was 6 kids were with him, and and he had his PlayStation 1. He was versing my dad in Command and Conquer, the original Command and Conquer
Yes.
on PlayStation.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
And
Mhm.
this wasn't a split screen thing. They had to connect their PlayStations together, set it up to where and then we had 2 TVs, right? And these aren't the
Right.
flat screen TVs that we have now. These were the big chunky
Yes. The
TVs.
CRTs.
Yeah.
The CRT.
And they had those back to back. One person sitting on one side, the other one sitting on the other side, and they
Kind of like
versed each other.
Battleship.
Yeah, this was adult Battleship. This was grown up Battleship.
That's
And
awesome.
that was the first LAN party I ever remember, and it wasn't even a LAN party to me.
Yeah,
This is
right.
just like a thing.
But by definition, that basically
Yeah,
was a LAN party.
that's a LAN party.
That's a
yeah.
LAN party. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah, that was my first memory. So yeah, you can I think you can definitely have these experiences with video games
Sure.
like that.
Mhm.
Video games now more so are a bit different.
Well, it's funny you say that. Like, yes, you're 100%. It is a little bit different now. But one thing that I think tabletop gaming in general has over video games and LAN parties, right?
Yeah.
The barrier to entry is so much lower.
Yeah,
Because
for
in
sure.
order to do like these video games, the cost is so much higher.
Yep.
You got to have a console, you got to have a PC, you got to get the game, which is another six.
Monitors,
You got, yeah.
TVs, whatever it is.
Yeah, and with board games or tabletop gaming, you just gotta get the game. You gotta get the game, spend 30, 40,
One
50,
person
however
has to
much.
get the game.
Exactly, one person.
Yeah.
One person has to get it, and then you're good. Then you're good to go. So I think the advantage, like when we're talking about tabletop gaming and video gaming,
Yeah.
I think the advantage 100% of the time, board gaming, tabletop gaming.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, that's not this. Like you can still have you can have a lot of fun playing these video games.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
like
Wii bowling,
I've
all
played so much more video games than I have
Yes.
tabletops.
yeah, sure.
It's also just far easier to get into it now if you don't have any play with it.
Far easier to get into video.
And in terms of instantly meeting more new, because if you don't
Oh,
have a store
sure,
you go
yeah,
to and
yeah.
your family doesn't want to play, and you're the only one.
And that is something that I think we'll probably delve into way deeper because
Yeah.
we can talk about that very, very much in depth.
Yeah, I'm saying easier in terms of it's only essentially has to be you.
Accessibility, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
probably.
Yeah, we'll say that.
I think that's kind of what
Yes.
the best way for it to be described would be kind of accessibility. Okay, so I think when we talk about tabletop gaming and spending quality time with your family, okay, I have like a word of caution here. Okay, game choice can be an important factor. Okay, not always, but it can be. Okay, know your family, know who you are getting involved with, know who you're playing with. If you and your family or the people you're playing with can be uber competitive, be careful.
Or you're gonna learn that real quick.
We talked about this last time. What we're doing here, what we're building with Hobbies and Happiness, we value competition.
Yes.
We think it's important, but it is very easy for that to get
Out of hand.
get out of hand and just you lose control.
Yeah.
So just know that ahead of time. Just be careful. It's so easy for that to get out of hand. You don't want to be breaking laptops.
Definitely want to have healthy competition.
Yeah, competitive natures can be destructive. I mean, we both know that from experience.
Yeah. Broken a few laptops.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think I said this last time. I remember. Okay, I don't know if I'm making this up. Like what I mean is, I don't remember if this actually happened or if it was something that I thought about. Yeah. So I remember getting into an argument with my dad. Okay. So Jim, you know me. I am just like my dad. I don't think you've ever met my dad, but we are spitting images of each other.
Okay.
Okay. So you know how competitive I am.
Yeah.
My dad, yep, just like that.
Okay.
So I don't remember what we were playing, but I remember getting into an argument with him and like we got up in each other's faces because he thought he was right and I thought I was right.
Yeah.
So for those of you listening to this
Who was right?
and you know me and you know my dad, you're like, oh yeah, I can totally see that. I don't know. I don't know who was right.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
remember.
You don't remember the argument?
I don't know. I just remember that we got in an argument about it. And I think about that now, having kids, I'm like, that I don't want that. Like, that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
That's a little sad. But in the heat of the moment, like, it's your personality comes out. It's, I don't want it to get that way.
You could ask him.
I think I did. I should recently. And you know what? I feel like I have asked him about it, and he was like, yeah, no, I don't remember that. I don't even think that ever happened.
Huh.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it actually happened.
Mind is a strange thing.
Yes. Your
Memories
mind can play
augmented.
so many tricks on you. So I don't know if it actually happened,
Yeah.
but it totally could. Because knowing me and knowing my dad, that totally could. Maybe my dad was just tricking me. He was like, he just didn't want to admit to it.
Possibility.
So, okay. The other thing, right, when we're talking about spending quality time with friends and a family,
Yeah.
one of the things that sitting around a table and playing a game, right, you can learn so much from the person you're playing with.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially once you play enough games, you kind of just
Yes.
know what they're gonna do.
Right. Like you have so many opportunities for conversations just in general. Like if you're playing a super relaxed game, you just have conversations about whatever. Or if you're playing a more strategic game, okay, like we were playing Lord of the Rings, the living
Yes.
card game.
Great
right?
game.
So we're discussing play lines.
Yes.
We're trying to figure out the most optimal lines of play for each other because that's a cooperative game, right? And so in having those conversations, like if I didn't know you as well, I could have gleaned a lot of information.
Oh yeah, especially that final turn.
That final turn, yeah,
Woo!
100%.
That was a turn.
Well, it was fun. Like, what did you tell me, Jim? What was the one thing that you said?
So we're going all out.
You wanted to end the game.
We are ending the game.
You
right
wanted
now.
to end the game. And knowing you, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's totally Jim.
Yeah. I got a lot of stuff on board. We were going for
We
it.
were just
The
trying
math
to
added up.
The math totally added up.
Yep.
And we were all out. We were going to win the game that turn. And we did.
Did.
We 100% did. Like
we destroyed
we destroyed that game.
We like doubled the score at the end, the leftover.
I think we needed like 12?
We needed 11.
Yeah, we needed 11.
11.
The value we were looking for was 11,
Yeah.
right? And so the way it kind of works is you had to commit a certain value. You have all of your characters that you're playing.
Yes.
You had to commit a certain amount of them to the quest at hand, right? And so the value at that time that we were trying to quest successfully was 11.
Yes.
So Jim was just like, I'm playing this character, I'm playing this character, I'm playing this
all
character.
out. I played 4 characters.
You emptied your hand
Yeah.
and you're like,
My hand wasn't even empty. I had like 6 cards. I played Gandalf.
wait. Your hand was not empty?
No.
You still had cards in hand?
I ran out of energy.
Oh, that's right. You ran out of resources.
I had so many resources.
That's right. You did. It's like
Yeah.
every turn you were getting like 5 resources.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So you emptied your resource pool.
Yes.
You dumped out all his characters. And so we had a total of 33.
So
It
here's how
ended-
it was. We needed 11
Yep.
to win the game. Well, bare minimum, we needed 11 to win the game. And then we had the enemy and the locations trying to stop us from
Right.
winning the game.
Mhm.
Right. And we knew that worst case scenario, the resistance was going to be 11, I think
It was something like that. It was like 11 or
Something-
12. I
something
think
along those
we
lines.
calculated that it was like 11.
Yeah, worst case scenario was 11.
Sure, yes.
And so I started like turning my cards sideways, which is what I like to do sometimes. and so I was just like, all right, I have this much. Swing for 25.
And then I contributed 8.
So even if he didn't swing, I still won the game. Subtract the 11 that we ended up getting because
Yep.
it was worst case, and we
Yep.
still got it. And then, from that 14 left over, and we needed 11. Yeah, we beat the game real
Yep.
quick.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
And that's one thing that I know about you.
Yeah.
So many times we've played so many games.
Yeah.
And if games have gone long or going long,
Yeah.
Jim's like, all right, let's wrap it up. Come on, Dan, dude, we're
Yeah,
done.
this is taking
We're taking
too
too long. We're
long.
gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of person where like I
Blocking's for
like
people who, or math is for people who block.
Yep. And so here's another thing I know about Jim. Jim loves burning.
Yeah.
Jim loves burning people to death. He's not a pyromaniac.
This is not real life.
He's not a pyromaniac.
This is in games.
Right. So in Magic, Jim is the burn player.
Oh man, this has gone back.
Jim,
to actually,
wait, time out. Jim, what's your favorite spell? What's your favorite spell in Magic?
Lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt. There you go.
Lightning bolt. There's nothing better.
Nothing better.
3 to face.
Okay, what were you gonna say? There was a time.
I've been actually playing burn in card games since 2007. Started with Yu-Gi-Oh. My cousin had this one specific deck that was like really defensive and I wasn't ever able to get through. So I was just like, how do I get over it? Oh, there are these cards that just deal direct damage to his face. It all started from Yu-Gi-Oh back in 2007.
Really?
Yes. I've been playing burn Yu-Gi-Oh then. Then it went over to Magic. I found a way to do it in Pokemon. So I now have a burn deck in Pokemon. Yeah, I'll show it to you. Don't worry. And so every single every single card game I play, there is some form of burn.
That is all right. And see, I know that about Jim.
Yeah.
Jim, let me ask you, what is one thing that you know about me when it comes to gaming?
Oh man.
Or maybe I should say think you know.
Just resources. Get
you
resources.
I am all about that value.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you know this. Maybe you do. But I'll ask you.
Okay.
Who's the first commander that I built?
First commander you built.
If you don't know, who would you guess it was?
I don't remember if it was the mono green. I don't think it was the mono green.
So you didn't play. You didn't play with me the first time. You did not play with me the first.
I think the first time we played was when you did have Gargos.
Is that the first time you played me in Commander?
Yeah, because we had the 6-man pod. I'm fairly certain that was the first time we played.
Okay. The first time that I played Commander though was not with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So Gargos was not the first commander that I built.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna give you one guess.
Okay.
I will give you a guess.
Okay.
It was not Gargos.
Any other hint?
Resources. Oh no. Here's your hint.
Value.
There you go. Value.
Okay. Value.
Think about. Let me tell you.
I feel like it was something that had to do with Sultai colors.
Yes.
Was it Sultai colors?
That is correct.
Okay.
Who do you think the number one Sultai commander?
The number one is Muldrotha.
There you go.
There's nothing.
Boom.
There's nothing.
That was the first one I built. Yeah.
Nice.
And then the initial Muldrotha deck I built, I took apart.
Yeah.
Because
you recently built.
Yes, and the new one is
a lot cooler.
Oh yeah. The new one is a lot.
He's like, this
cooler.
is control Muldrotha.
Yes,
I'm like, I like it.
Yes.
Because outside of Burning Face, I love playing control as well.
And is that deck not sweet?
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
That deck is sweet. That deck is a lot of fun. I love that deck. That deck is so much fun. So Jim knows I'm all about that value and those resources, and I know Jim is all about that burn.
Yeah, burn.
Memories. And we've shared a lot of memories tonight just in our short time playing games. We have so many memories.
A lot of good stuff.
We've talked about growing up, right?
Sure, a lot of the people listening can think back after we were talking about our stories. And I haven't thought about this other game.
Well, it's funny though.
So
like you're telling me your stories,
Yeah.
like Monopoly. I'm like, okay, now I remember
Yeah.
Phase 10. Oh, you know what? I remember playing that game.
Yeah.
You say a game, right?
Yep.
And people's minds just go back to, holy cow, I remember that time. And I'm interested. To anybody listening, right? I'm so interested. Like if I said Pass the Pigs, anybody play Pass the Pigs?
How many people have played Pretty Pretty Princess?
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to know. Was this a game that only we had, or
are you the only person that's ever played?
Or was I just going through my aunt's jewelry box and I was like, I'm winning?
Do you still go through your aunt's jewelry box?
It's been a while.
But like it's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Like you
haven't thought
but
of.
even like you overhear conversations.
Yeah.
You overhear conversations about people talking about a game and you're like, are you talking about This,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're like, I remember that. It's so interesting. Now, I mean, obviously, this happens in so many different things, right?
It doesn't even have to be board games.
No,
We
right.
were talking about video games
Mhm.
earlier. If you hear someone talking about like Legend of Zelda,
Yep.
we could go back to what, like 89 on the
Yes.
NES
Yep.
or whatever it was. I think it was 85.
I don't know.
I forget.
I don't know.
Regardless,
It's a long time ago.
been a while.
It's a long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, even those, like, they keep coming out with these newer titles of the original of this thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever played Volcanic
Mm-mm.
Island.
No.
Along those lines.
Nope.
This game came out, I want to say like the 70s. They recently did a reboot for it and gave it an expansion. My girlfriend and her family had the original copy, and we were playing that not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
Volcano Island, I think is what, or Fireball Island. I lied.
Fireball
Island.
Island, okay.
That is what it's called.
Okay.
And
Still don't know what it is.
yeah, it recently got a reboot. I'm sure some people.
Yeah, that's cool. So, we have all these memories with our families, but then even I've been married for about 7 years now.
Okay.
And I already have a lot of memories with my wife's family just playing games.
Yeah.
So most recently, so I mentioned that my sister-in-law got married not too long ago. Okay. Before they got married, we had her and her now husband over, and then my brother-in-law over, and we all played a game. Okay. And the game that we played was Cards Christians Like. Okay. Don't think I mentioned this last week, but I'm a Christian, right? And so this game entitled Cards Christians Like, it is what's what I'm looking for? Modeled after Cards Against Humanity, right?
Okay.
So it's one of those party games,
Yeah.
right? Where you have all these different cards, and then you play one card, and then everyone throws in a card, and then you pick which one you like more, or which one is funniest, right? And so, growing up in a Christian background, all of these cards really kind of go towards like our upbringing, right? And so, dude, we had so much fun. That game, like, I mean, you've played those kinds of games, right? Those
Yeah,
party
those games are great.
They're so much fun. And so, like, having our like Christian circle, it was a lot of fun because it kind of brought us back to when
Yeah.
we were growing up. And oh, dude, it was so much fun.
Not to mention, you can also be thinking about things in different ways. And
Yes.
like the
And
description
that's
of this
why
card,
it
and
was
you're like,
fun.
oh, this is great.
Well, there was this one card. I can't even remember what the card was.
Yeah.
But it was my wife's turn to go, and I have my cards, right?
Yeah.
And knowing my wife, I'm like, okay, I think she would think this one is probably the
Oh
funniest.
man, you were playing your judge, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, you played. That's the best thing to do. Play the
Yes,
judge.
you play the judge.
Yes.
Exactly. So I'm like, I think she's gonna like this one,
Yeah.
right? And to me, it wasn't even that funny, but I thought it was,
Yeah.
quirky type
Yeah.
thing. Well, she starts reading it and she can't even get through the card, and she goes on laughing for like 10 minutes. It was we thought it was funny, but
Yeah.
nobody thought it was that funny.
Yeah, she loved it.
Oh, of course, yes. We all had a blast.
The thing about playing your judge, though, right, is once they learn, people will play the judge. They will now start not to pick that card.
Yes.
It could kind of
Yes.
backfire
Right.
on you.
Yes. Well, but I feel like you always have to play. I feel like you always have to play the judge because
That or just like a really funny card.
well, right, because it's always because those types of games are
Yeah.
subjective.
Yeah.
Subjective anyway.
Yep.
There is no objectivity.
I've played a lot of
Objectivity has been completely removed.
pretty much. I've played that game, or I played Cards Against Humanity and against my family, and my grandmother was playing it with us.
Mhm.
It was a great time, and she got to play a lot of funny cards, and we got to play a lot of funny cards, and she was forced to read them when she was the judge. So if you guys have played it, you know some of the cards, and
Yeah,
and so-
if let me just interject here real quick.
Yeah.
If you what's a good way of putting this? Don't play that game if you've got conservative family, or like you don't want to.
I feel like you can play it with everyone.
See, I've never played the game.
Oh,
I honestly, me personally, I don't really want to because there's so many.
Well, my dad and brother tend to be a bit more, and they still play it, but
I don't mean
It really-
politically, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think at this point everybody pretty much knows
Yeah.
what Cards Against Humanity is and
Gotcha.
like what's in there, like what you
Yeah.
can expect. I think everybody knows what to expect, type thing.
Yeah, we're gonna play that game one day.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna be like, oh,
Let's play with your parents
gracious.
too.
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just it could be a really fun time.
Or awkward.
Or yeah, and very
Fun
awkward.
and awkward.
Oh, but why
Fun
I
or
was,
awkward, fun and awkward.
yeah, but why I was getting to talking about it was because you can think some cards are hilarious, but whoever the judges, they don't understand it, or they're worried about another card that they thought was funny, and it's just
Which
like,
always happens in
I
those
got
games.
robbed.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
like, you could easily
That
get
always
robbed.
happens in games like that.
Yeah.
So, do you have any recent memories of games that you've played, or any other memories that, before we kind of move on, I kind of just want to see if you've got any other memories that
Oh, so not too long ago, I guess we're gonna go over this when we get to our favorite game. Right?
yeah, we are going to talk
That's
about that.
Is
We
that a
are
different-
that yeah, we are going to talk about that. We're probably going to have an episode where we kind of just go over, like, it's just going to be all about some of our favorite games.
Okay, so I'll just tell the story.
Sure.
Okay, so I believe it was 2 weeks ago now. My aunt came into town, and she was over by one of my other aunts who lived,
Okay.
and we all grouped up together. There's probably like 14 people, and just a small
Jeez,
amount, Dan.
man.
A small amount. And so I brought some board game, right?
Okay.
I brought Dungeon Mayhem, which is
Yes.
one of my favorites.
Love that game, is awesome.
Honestly, I'd probably say it is my favorite.
I've played that
board
game once now, and I absolutely love that
Yeah,
game.
and he loves it.
That game's
And,
awesome.
And so,
Dungeon Mayhem, play it.
yeah, Dungeon Mayhem. And I first cracked it open with my two cousins.
Okay.
And we played the game from 8 o'clock p.m. to midnight. It was all we played. They didn't want to play anything else. They're just like, run it back. Like, we're keep going.
Now, hang on. Now that I've played it, so I know. But was that the first time you played it and you just had the core set?
With my family?
Yes. This time when you said you played from 8 till 12?
No. This was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. My bad. I'm sorry.
I've been playing this game for over.
Yeah, my bad.
And
You said that. I
yeah.
was just not listening. I'm
So-
sorry.
So 2 weeks ago I was playing it with some cousins, and so they absolutely loved it.
Yep.
And then we got my mom, stepdad, my aunt inside the game as well. At first they were like, "Oh, I don't really know what to think about it," testing it out. From the very first game, they loved it.
Yes.
And then we played it from midnight to 3 o'clock in the morning.
So wait a minute. You
Yeah.
played it from
At 3 to
8?
4.
You played it from 8 o'clock?
Yes. To 3 a.m.
Holy cow.
And my cousin played the exact same deck every single time. She played the Barbarian. The
Oh, okay.
Barbarian. Yeah, it's an amazing deck. The more
Okay.
people you play it with,
Okay.
it's great. So
that game, I can imagine the more people you get to play that game, that's
Yeah.
got to be
it
just
can
so much more fun.
it can be crazy. It can be ridiculous. And the thing about it was
So go ahead, sorry.
so there's a character in the game called Delilah. She is a beholder. If you don't know what a beholder is, she's a giant eye monster that likes to deal with anti-magic stuff, along with magic stuff.
Before you continue,
Yes.
what is Dungeon Mayhem?
So Dungeon Mayhem is a card game that is based off of Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm.
It more so takes characters from the game, puts them in here. Since it's a card game, have a deck of, like, we'll say 30 to 40 cards.
It's a pre-built deck.
Yes.
There's no deck building involved.
It's straight character specific decks. There are static cards in every single deck, or generic cards in every single deck that roughly pretty much do the same thing, whether it's damage, gain life, play another card, or block. And then every single character, and there are 12 different characters, they all have different abilities. Delilah being characters, and that's who I was playing. So she has an ability called Praise Me. You have to go around the circle, and everyone has to give you a compliment. And if they don't, they take 2 damage, right?
Don't they have to say "I praise you" too? Something like that.
Kinda. We more so have it set up to where you just give the person a compliment, because praising everyone saying "I praise your greatness,"
Right.
there's not really anything.
Right.
So we changed it up a little, and so everyone had to go around the circle compliment. Earlier, I was talking about how I played played games with my cousin and sister.
Sure.
That cousin is really close to me, and the aunt who came in from town was his mother, right? So we were all very close. Lived with us for a bit of time. We were always together, and so she's a person that's really close to me as well.
Mhm.
So when it got to her turn, and she was first, right? She starts dying laughing, right? My
Okay.
cousin and I tend to, we tend to talk a lot of poop to one another. And so, just out of fun. And so she was like, you know what? If your cousin was here, he would not give you a compliment. So I'm going to take the 2 damage for him. So we're dying laughing while she's taking the 2 damage. Then the next turn I do it again, and then she takes 2 more damage.
That's
Because she
funny.
refuses to do it out of for fun.
That is funny.
So, and my mother hit me up the other day. She
Yeah.
said, "Look at what I found. Found the base game of Dungeon Mayhem." She ordered 2 expansions. She found another expansion at one of a local game store by my sister. Picked it up. She's bought sleeves for all the different games for she has her copy. My 2 cousins have their copies of the
Mhm.
game. She's all about that.
That's awesome.
Dungeon Mayhem.
When we first played it, I'm like, I'm adding that to my Amazon list. I have a list on Amazon that's like my card/board games that I want to get.
Yeah.
Top of the list.
Yeah, it's an amazing.
That game is fun.
We're gonna have to play it one day, man. Maybe when we make a video.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
that yes. Yes, dude, that game was so much fun. Yeah. So talked about all these quality times that we've been able to spend with our families and our friends,
Yep.
memories that we've created, and one other thing that I have written down here was politics. When I say politics, I don't mean
So
don't mean
when he
actual
first-
politics.
when he wrote this down and I put a comment on it, and I'm like, I don't think we should talk about politics. And he's like, that's not what I meant. I'm like, oh, then yeah, we're gonna talk about it.
When I say politics, what I mean is playing the politics card.
Yes.
Okay. It kind of teaches you how to negotiate.
Yeah.
There
It's in the
there are so many ways and opportunities for you to learn how to negotiate with someone else.
Yes.
So one thing that I take very seriously is my word is my bond. If I
Yeah.
tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to follow through.
Yeah.
Now, some people, like Jim, say they're going to do something and then just go back on it because
Dan,
why
when do
not?
I ever
Because
really do that?
why not?
When do I ever do that?
Really?
I'm going to really need you to point it out, because the only time that's happened is like when someone then gives me a different offer, and then I'm just like, well, we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right.
But normally
That's
I tend to be
fair. That's true. That's
Yes.
true. That's
I
true.
tend to be
I'm just very, when it comes to you, Jim.
man, I show you the cards in my hand sometimes. I'll be like, dude, look at this. I'm gonna take this.
The thing with Jim is
Guys, I've been around the internet too long. I am definitely a troll when it comes to games.
yes, that's it.
I am a troll.
You, you don't do what is optimal or anything. You're just like, how can I create the most chaos, or how can I make
Yeah.
Dan's life
What can
like,
just be so funny to do right now?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't.
And
I
see,
never care about winning.
Yes, and see, we talked about earlier about
Yeah.
learning about your play group or the people you're playing with,
Yeah.
and I know that about Jim now.
Yeah. My win
And-
cons are always burned.
Yes.
And I just like to do funny stuff.
Yes, you like to do funny stuff.
Yeah.
So let me take it back here. Jim, I apologize for saying you
Man, I
don't
can't believe that.
for saying that you don't keep your word, because you actually do.
Yeah.
You do. You really do.
Yeah.
You do.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to get that on the record, okay? You
Yeah.
do keep your word. So do I. And
Yeah.
that's like, for me, that's important.
Yeah.
Right? So but in Magic particularly,
Yeah.
Magic is a good example because there's so many opportunities to again, like in our experience, so many opportunities to negotiate with the table.
Yeah.
Right? And figure out, okay, who's the threat, what's the most efficient line of play here.
Yep.
But it's in every game. Cooperative game.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The cooperative games like Lord of the Rings, like we
Yeah.
played tonight.
Oh, we were just playing. It's just like, oh, we're gonna do this, but if you do this,
Mhm.
then I got this card to restand it
Right.
for you, and then
Yep.
we can block. And
Yep.
Things along.
Yep. There's really you have so many opportunities to just negotiate
Yeah.
with people, and it does teach you kind of how to be good at that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What did we play? Oh, okay. When we played Dungeon Mayhem,
Yes.
right? We played with your brother,
Yes.
right?
He was
And
terrible.
Kyle, we love you, dude.
He's like, I had 4 life lower than you, and he's like, I'm gonna split this 3 and 3 so it's even. I'm like, that's not even. All right, I'm going from 7 to 4. He's chilling at 7. How is that fair?
Yes.
Whatever. I'm fine with. I ain't even mad.
But there was one thing you said to him,
Yeah.
right? When we were kind of going through like a situation like that, and I was trying to give him advice
Yes.
and saying, okay, here's what I think you should do. What did you
Yeah.
tell him? What did you tell him about me?
Oh man.
Do you remember?
I think I said something along, or was this before or after you got your way on the other
Before.
scenario?
Before.
Oh, I don't remember.
No,
I
it
think
was after. It was after.
Yeah,
It was
I was
after.
like, he
It was after.
played you because Dan threw out the politics. He's like, oh, but if you target him with this specific thing and whatnot, because you look at what he has and he has more value than us and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And I'm just like, dude, he got you last time.
Yep.
You really want him to play with your mind like that?
Yep.
And he's like, nope. And then
And then,
targeted
and then he
him.
targeted me. Yes. And I was like, dang it didn't work.
Yeah, you like that chaos being thrown out there?
Yep. Oh man. But yeah, like so many games.
Also, side note, don't ever miss lethal again, please. If there's one thing I've learned playing Bird is how to not miss lethals.
Oh man, that was funny.
Yeah, that was
I think
great.
I was kind of like shaking my head there a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we said though, Kyle, we love you, dude.
It was a fun time.
It was. That was a great
Fun.
time. And I'm pretty sure Kyle had fun too.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure he had fun. So yeah, the politics stage.
Yes.
The politics step, right? That's great. Oh man.
Yeah, people, if you know, like, we'll bring it back to Magic because it just works so well in terms of like, if you
Yeah.
know one specific person can destroy something of yours,
Mhm.
or you can be like, I really want this to get on the board
Mhm.
and stick. You can just be like, hey, if you don't target this thing, I won't target your specific
Right.
thing, and then you could show that you're able to get rid of it and whatnot,
Right.
and then that's kind of what we're talking about in terms of.
Like, hey, how about you let me play the game? Let
Yeah.
me play what I want to do,
Yeah.
and then I'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of, especially for younger people, like the younger generation, the younger players,
Yeah.
like it really kind of teaches them, like, yeah, and I hate to use this term, but I think it kind of applies to be inclusive, right?
Yeah,
Because
okay.
we've all played those
Yes.
younger kids, those younger players who are all about, I'm just going to kill all of their stuff. I'm just going to dominate every single person and not let anybody else play the game. Which, like,
That's difficult to do against 2 other or 3 other players.
yes, but even if they could do it, like the other players who also could be younger kids, they could be
Yeah.
not having a good time,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
And I'm always like, I want to play. I'm like, everybody else just kind of wants to play. Now again, we're not saying like let them win type thing.
Yeah.
But again, it teaches that the art of negotiation.
Yeah.
And negotiation is an art.
Yeah.
It
is.
very much
Oh,
is.
you get so far with having
The-
stupid good negotiation.
relatively recently, I've come across a negotiator. He used to be an FBI negotiator,
Yeah.
Chris Voss. Do you know who he is? I'll have to show you his stuff. Find him on Instagram, people. Check him out. His name's Chris Voss. I believe he wrote a book. I think it's entitled The Art, or what is his book? He wrote a book. I haven't read it yet. But I've listened to him talk. And he's got really good stuff just about negotiation. We talk about negotiation,
Yeah.
and I just thought about him. So check him out, Chris Voss. Yeah.
VOSS?
I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, like negotiation, when it comes to tabletop gaming, it really, really can come into play.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Oh man, especially if you play Monopoly, that's really where it could also come into
Oh,
play. It's
yes.
just like, oh, I got this
Yes.
property you want?
Yes.
Oh, well, let's see what you got.
Every game. Like
Yeah.
seriously, every game.
Yeah.
Every single game.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I can
Man,
be mean to
Uno,
you.
It'll be like, hey yo, don't use that +4 yet. All right, let's set something up to get this next dude over on us.
Yeah. So, okay, like everything that we've kind of talked about and we've touched on goes back to why we think tabletop gaming is important, okay? And how it can be important and what it teaches you, what it can teach you, right?
Not to mention, if you have like smaller, or not even like really smaller kids, like kids that don't really know what to do, and can teach them like a strategic strategic board game,
Mhm.
that could really change their life. Strategy games can really change your way of thinking.
Yes. Yeah. It really, really can open up your mind
Yeah.
just in logic, right? And just a way because it is a way of thinking.
Yeah.
It really, really is.
Sure. I
So
mean, that's partially why they say, like, on average, gamers have higher IQ.
So how can you cultivate this, right? Because okay, so we've talked about how it's important, why it's important. Okay, now we're gonna kind of shift gears a little bit and kind of talk about the why,
Yeah.
right? Or excuse me, I'm sorry, the how.
The how.
Okay, the how. Okay, we've talked about the why. And so now it's kind of like how. We talked last week about how we met. Okay, talked about how I first discovered Grapple and then kind of why I discovered Grapple. Okay, and finding a game store is important because we talk about community, right? And local game stores is the place
For sure.
in our opinion and estimation and experience of how you can grow your circle, how you can cultivate that community and grow
Yes.
it,
Yep.
right?
For sure. This is like probably the best way to I mean, it's essentially like, you like to dance and go to clubs and meet people, or you want to go to the YMCA to swim and then you like meet like other swimmers or something along those lines. Want to get into gaming? Well, go to your local game store and find other players, get either better or either find new games to play, meet new players, or teach those players new games.
One thing that I wanted to touch on last week and I failed to, and I kind of want to mention it now. I have a friend,
Mhm.
okay, who had a good time in college.
Yeah.
Met a lot of lifelong friends in college.
Yeah.
Still has those friends, okay? Has all of those connected,
Yeah.
okay? And they live not close.
Okay.
They don't live close to them, okay? So in order to kind of, communicate and play games with them, right?
Yeah.
Kind of do it over online, okay?
Yeah.
And I remember having a conversation with them, and like I get it, like I have friends like that too. Not really so much, but now that I've met you and met everybody at Grapple,
Yeah.
and I went through that, I had to make that conscious decision and that conscious choice of okay, I have to find a game store. I have to find a community. Okay. Getting to that point was kind of hard, right?
Okay.
And so he has that group already.
Yeah.
My friend has that group already, right? But they're not here, right? And so like that was a situation to where I immediately saw the importance.
Oh yeah.
I immediately saw the importance of having that community, that group here where you can meet. And when you don't have it, it's hard to cultivate and grow kind of as a gamer, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they're not here, when
Yeah.
you're not in the same space as them.
Yeah. I mean, you do have a group of friends that still want to be in touch with. I completely
Yeah.
get that.
Sure.
And growing as a whole together, but it is a bit more different online playing.
Yeah.
Because it's not so much of like, it's I kind of see it as, say we go to our game store and we're playing games with people,
Mhm.
right? And then as soon as the game is over, everyone instantly, right?
Mhm.
That's not how it works.
Right.
Normally it's just like, all right, well now after we played that, let's just hang out for a little bit.
Right.
So it's not just a purely we're playing games. It's now like, all right, well, you met some cool people. Let's talk a little bit about random things, whether it's new games to play or it's
Right.
like, you guys really do start hitting it off. And it's like, all right, well, let's go get some dinner.
Yeah.
And then you're grouping up at that. and
Right.
Talking about other random things.
Right.
So
Friends
a lot more personal.
Friends are important.
Yeah.
People are important.
For sure.
Man was not meant to be alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a biblical principle.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to go like super in depth into that or anything.
Yeah.
But
We're sociable creatures.
yes, we are not meant to quarantine for a year.
Yeah.
We are not meant to stay alone.
I mean, you think about prisoners that are in isolation. They
Mhm.
go crazy.
Mhm.
So many of them will go crazy. And then it's just like, all right, well, now let's get out there for like 30 minutes.
I just mentioned quarantine, right?
Yeah.
2020 was very hard on young people.
Yeah.
2020 and going through COVID and forcing people to quarantine. I'm not going to get into the politics of it or anything.
Yeah.
What I do want to touch on is the effects it had on young people.
Yeah.
I don't know what the statistics are, but I know there was a spike in suicides. There was a spike in suicide. Young people had it very, very difficult. They wanted to see their friends, and many of them took that so hard. And seeing that is like so. It's more proof that people need people.
Yeah, sure.
We are sociable creatures. We need to be around people. And then when we're told when we have to be alone, that's hard.
Oh yeah.
That is so difficult, especially for young people. Very, very, very difficult. So and one way that you can grow your circle, right? And expand your group is conventions.
Yeah.
I remember, I think I talked about it last week, going to Magic Fest. Oh, did I talk about Magic Fest?
I think we talked about conventions a little bit,
Mhm.
but nothing specific.
Yeah, so I have only been to one Magic convention ever,
Yeah.
right? And I think I went a couple years ago. Oh, it was fun. That was
Oh,
that was a
they're
great time.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. And it wasn't even here. Like I had to drive.
Yeah.
I had to
Where
drive
was
to
it?
go down there.
Indiana?
It was Indiana.
Okay.
I had a friend from college who lived in the area.
Yeah.
And so I had found out that he played Magic. So I reached out to him and I'm like, "Hey man, let's get together. Did you know that they're having this Magic Fest in Indianapolis?" And so
Also, if you've never been there, it's a cute little town. Ain't gonna lie.
what, Indianapolis? Indianapolis is nice.
It's a cute little town. I call it a cute little town because, like, in comparison to Chicago, it's literally walk for like 30 minutes and you're
is.
already from one side to the other.
It is. It is. It is very nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
I did enjoy checking out Lucas Oil Stadium.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think
Well, like I didn't go in there or anything, but like just driving by
okay.
and just seeing it.
Yeah.
I love that. That is a very cool stadium.
Well, it's right next to the main convention center, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
is. It is. So anyway, that was so much fun. A
Yeah.
lot of fun. And that was really like the only convention that I've ever been to.
Mhm.
But there are so many. You've got
for
like
sure.
Gen Con, C2E2,
Yes.
and
ASIN for anime convention.
mhm. And that's something that we've kind of talked about, but we haven't talked about very much about wanting to get into.
Yeah.
Just kind of again, just to grow our community and to grow our business and to grow what we're trying to do. We want to get involved somehow. We don't really know how, but
Yeah.
there are places like C2E2, which is around here.
Yeah.
But those opportunities are there. Like Gen Con, you learn about what's coming up in the gaming world, in the tabletop gaming community.
like
That is the convention. That is the convention. The convention. Yep. Yeah, and I've never I have friends. I have other friends who I know who've been there and who go to those.
Yeah.
But I've just never been.
I've never been to it either.
Yeah, I've never been, and we want to. We 100% want to.
Yeah.
And it's sweet. So one other thing that I kind of want to touch on just about human interaction in general.
Yeah.
Human interaction is very different when we're talking tabletop gaming versus video game.
For sure.
It's very different sitting up in that table and playing Lord of the Rings living card game
Yeah.
across from one another
Yeah.
versus I'm going to sit down here and play Call of Duty again with all these other people online.
Don't have sound on. Just
Well,
mute everyone.
Right, but let's assume it's a cordial game and we're
Okay.
all very nice.
Okay.
It's a very different experience.
Yeah.
It is so very different.
Because it tends to be everything talk about pretty much inside the game. Unless you already know these people. Finding brand new friends to be
Mhm.
with is it's a bit harder in games like
Mhm.
there are obviously some that are a bit more community based and depending on the games like MMOs, those
Yeah.
can be
Right.
you have a guild of 20 people
Sure.
that all got to go do something.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a bit different than Call of Duty.
Sure.
But yeah, when comparing those to a board game, it's kind continuing what I was saying earlier. You play the board game, and then it's not like instantly every single person has left the table and not talking.
Right.
It's a whole lot. It's a bit different.
Yeah. So I guess in conclusion, everything pretty much of what we've kind of touched on is just why we think tabletop gaming is important. It touches on so many different areas and aspects of what we need as humans and what it can provide. The opportunities it can provide are endless. Okay. The memories that it can provide are endless.
Oh, for sure.
And
the things I learned or was experienced grapple.
Mhm.
Aside from the card games that I play, learning of D&D, I haven't been playing that.
right.
But the stories I have from D&D, the stories I have from board games that especially Dungeon Mayhem. You know how many times I've played Dungeon Mayhem with people like grapple? Ridiculous.
Really.
They all love it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games.
That's one of those games that you can just introduce to people
Yeah.
and just to get them hooked.
Yeah.
To get them hooked on card games.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like that's a really good introduction to card games.
Yeah. I call it Commander Light.
Yeah.
That's
It
really
kind
what
of
You
is,
play
yeah.
it with 4 people.
Yeah.
You can be like, oh, I'm sending damage here. I'm getting resources.
Yep.
Trying to life total.
Yep.
Work with people to take
Yep.
out other things. It's Commander Light. What it
And if you guys can't tell, we love this stuff.
Yeah.
We really, really do. It's
Games
why
have been my whole life.
we're doing this.
Yeah.
Why we're doing this podcast. It's why we're creating Hobbies and Happiness. It's why we are doing this business. Is
Oh,
we love it.
So we went over what you thought and when you were looking into Grapple. We didn't go over when I first went to Grapple.
We didn't.
Oh, the
All right.
first time I ever went to Grapple, me and my sister were driving down the street and we were going to Burkott's and we saw Grapple Games. I'm like, what is? I instantly thought it was like a wrestling gym or a Brazilian jiu-jitsu grappling gym.
Wait. Did they have the sign?
I just
They-
saw Grapple Games. I'm
Okay,
like, grappling.
You didn't see the game piece?
I didn't know what it was, Dan. So
Okay. So for those of you that don't know, the sign of the store said Grapple Games, and right next to the sign there was like that sorry game piece.
Yes, yeah, it was a little
That's
piece.
Funny.
And yeah, I had no idea. I was just like, what is this? So then we walk in, I see board games all over the place. And I'm like, I have an LGS. I would take the Metra all the way down to 35th Street and then walk to 32nd and I forget, a few blocks over and over by where the Bridgeport restaurant is. I don't know if you know where that is.
Holy cow.
And so it was a little bit further than that. And,
Did you not know that there was a thing called the internet and Google Maps?
I didn't even know that like these game stores were a thing until I started going there. I was 19.
I got you.
I believe I was 19 when I first started going. Or 20.
I got you.
And and I learned about them. I started going down there, and then Grapple. I went in there. I think they opened like April, May, or June. I was in there in July. This is when I first heard of it. So it was like shortly after they opened, I learned.
Gotcha.
Then I was going there ever since.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the other game store in Bridgeport closed down. So that's a different.
That's a different story for a different day.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So we've gone on way too long here, I feel like.
Oh man. We'll just save it for our editor.
Thank you. So in short, tabletop gaming is important. And we really truly believe that.
Yeah.
We believe it's important I think it's important for every family. I think every family should have a couple of games on their shelf.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of kids now that are just like always stuck to iPads, video games. And I mean, I was one of them. You know, I was addicted to video games.
Yeah.
I still am a bit, and I know I have a problem from it.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure every parent has a story of their kid being upset from whatever video game.
Yep, sure.
Or give me Paw Patrol. Put it on my iPad.
My kids have Paw Patrol on their iPad.
Yeah.
They don't have they have the Amazon ones.
Yeah.
But they love those.
Some kids go crazy over it.
They do. All right, Jim.
Yes.
Where can people find you online?
Well, guys, my Twitter and Instagram, you can find me both at Jim Morgan H. Jim Morgan.
Yep. You can find me on Twitter at _DG Campbell, Instagram at Daniel.G.Campbell. You spell Campbell like the soup, CAMPBELL. Every time I say my name, I always have to specify. Because some people, they can't get it. I gotta specify. There is Camp Bell.
Camp Bell.
Yep.
Camp.
Yep. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, we also, I guess I'll say it. We have, you can email us if you have anything that you want to tell us. You got questions, you got stories. If you have
rolling questions,
seriously, honestly, if you guys have any stories, any fond memories that you have of games when you were kids, email us.
Yes, let us know.
Jim, what's our email?
It is hobbiesandhappiness@gmail.com.
Yeah, all this will be in the show notes. All this will be in the description. So if you have any of that, seriously, email us.
Yeah, I want to know.
I want to know.
If you got pretty princess, send us a pic of you all dolled up with the rings, the tiara. Let's see it.
Yeah, and we are in the process of building out all of our social media presences.
Yes.
We have our individual ones, which we've mentioned, but we're in the process of building out all other social accounts as well. So we are getting out there.
Yes.
All right.
What is our Grinder account?
Ignore that.
It's like I'm gonna edit that
I'm gonna
out.
edit that one out, right? Oh my goodness. All right. Well,
Better stay.
until it's late. Until next time, everybody. You know what? We're still figuring out what we gotta say at the end, but I want to. I want it to be something like I don't know. Be happy. I don't know. Be happy. Yeah.
Take care.
Be happy and take care. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Later.
All right. See you.